Hello everybody. Today's lesson that we're going to be talking about is revisiting the drawing of the hand. So you remember early on we drew your hand just with no instruction. We called it the pre-instruction hand. Now we're going to draw it and I'm going to show you an easier way to do it using some of the tools of the classroom. Now, if you are attempting to do this assignment at home without being in the classroom, this may be a little more difficult. However, the tools that we're going to use are easy to make. You can get instructions on how to make what is called the picture plane if you'll look up Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain by Betty Edwards. And you look up online, I'm sure you'll find either video tutorials on how to make the picture plane or in her book, which I'm sure you can find copies of online, she explains how to make the picture plane. Now, this is the picture plane we are talking about. So it is basically a piece of plexiglass with a transparency of a crosshair on it and then a frame. Now the size of it is 6.5 inches this way by 9.5 inches this way. So if you have a piece of glass from a picture frame or something, chances are it's going to be generally that same size. That particular size doesn't matter that much. It just happens to be what we do. The most important thing is to be able to have a black outline frame with two crosshairs in the middle. I should hold it over here where we can see. There I am. Anyway, so that's what we're going to be using. The first thing you're going to do is in your sketchbook, you're going to draw out a rectangle that is the same size as your picture plane. Now, as I said, in our case, it's 6.5 inches by 9.5 inches. And you're going to draw that out, and then you're going to draw two crosses down the cross line down the centers, like that. And then you're going to use a little bit of your pencil, a little bit of graphite, something, to give it a nice even shade, and that's what we call the ground. We talked a little bit about that in negative space. So that's how you start. After you get that done, you're going to take your picture plane and you're going to take your non-drawing hand and trying to find a comfortable position, you're going to prop the picture plane up on your hand like this, okay? Just want to keep your hand, you don't want it to be like flat out like this because that's going to be hard for you to hold later. You want it to be just your fingers slightly bent and then just rest that picture plane on there like so, okay? Then you're going to take a dry erase marker, okay, and you're going to copy the contours of your hand on this picture plane. Just draw right on it with a dry erase marker. Okay. Now, if you are in school and you can come to class, then I'll provide you with all this stuff, and we can go over it again. But basically, that's what you're going to do. You're going to look at it like with one eye closed. Usually, is how I do it, and then you're going to keep following that contour all the way around. It may look a little different from your point of view. And what you'll end up with is something that looks like this. Now you want to put in your cuff, if you see your sleeve, you want to put in the lines in your palm, lines in your thumb. This person could have even put in a few more lines here and there. But you're going to want to put in all the lines that you can see. All of that information is going to help you out later. Okay? So this is what you should end up with. Now, you're going to take that, and you're going to take this that you had earlier, and you can see how you can line those crosshairs up. Basically, if I can do it looking at the camera, you're going to transfer that drawing that you drew on the glass onto your paper. Noting on the picture plane things like where the fingers cross the lines, how far the edge of the cuff is from the edge of the plane. So like this part right here is fairly small space. Over here, it's a little closer to half, but maybe not quite half. Here, you want to notice where this pinky crosses the line. Okay, it's not quite half. I make little hash marks in all those places to show where they cross the lines. Okay? All those places you're going to mark on here. And then you're going to draw that contour drawing. A contour drawing is a line drawing. You're going to draw that line drawing onto your paper. Once you get that done and on there nice and neat, everything looks proportional. You're looking at your negative spaces to make sure that you looked at like this negative space here, or this tiny negative space here, this negative space here to copy. Kind of using those skills that we've had before. After you get all that on your paper, then you're going to start adding shadows like we did with our shading. You're going to take your pencil and add in the dark areas, places where the light doesn't hit as well. You're going to look at your hand, holding it in that same general position that you had it in, and you're going to notice, all right, look, right here, my fingers are darker along this edge. My palm has darkness as it comes in on these lines. That maybe there's spots of my palm that are brighter and lighter than other parts. The tips of my fingers usually have a little bit of a highlight on them. You can do all that with your pencil using either the edge of the pencil to shade or your eraser to pull out some of the pencil marks that are already on there, some of that graphite that's already on there, pull that out, and that will create your highlights. When you're all done, you're going to wind up with something that looks generally like this. Okay? You can see what I did after I added my highlights and my shadows. I went and I erased all the background to kind of make this central image pop out. Okay? So what you want is something that looks fairly realistic with shadows and highlights. Don't make your lines too dark, because then you end up with something that looks a little more cartoony. So be careful about that. You can always go back and make things a little darker, but sometimes it's harder to pull back. So I would start light and then build up from there. Yeah, so when you're done, make sure you fill out the quiz on Canvas that talks about the finished hand. And if you have any questions or problems, make sure you get in touch with me and we'll work through it. But I think you'll find that your finished hand, doing it this way, is going to look a lot better than the hand you drew originally. So good luck, have fun, and if you have any problems, contact me, or like I said, you can look up Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain by Betty Edwards, and there's some good information about this particular exercise. All right, have fun.